What's going on, everybody? Welcome into American Football Network. Today we bring you our Florida State versus Clemson game preview and prediction video. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you guys' score prediction is going to be. The person who gets the score prediction the closest will get a shout out on next week's video. So make sure you guys check that out and hit me up with the score predictions. Make sure you guys tell me why you think the score will be that way, what you're looking for, keys to the game for either team. Let me know all that good stuff down in the comments. Help me hit that goal of 1,150 subscribers before the end of September. We're getting closer. We still got about 120, I think, to go. So let's try and hit that. Let's have a good September. Keep up the momentum from the past months. We've had some really good months, but yeah, I'm excited for this game. Let's go ahead and dive into this video. So, Florida State Clemson this Saturday at 12 Eastern Time on ABC in Clemson, South Carolina at Death Valley. Clemson comes into the game at 2-1. They lost the opener at Duke 28-7, but have bounced back the last 2 weeks with a win over Charleston Southern 66-17 and a win over FAU Saturday 48-14. You look at Florida State; they come in ranked number 4 in the country at 3-0. They got a win in the first week on the Sunday before Labor Day over the then ranked, I believe, number 5 LSU Tigers. Beat them 45-24. Just beat their brains in and completely dominated that game. Then they beat Southern Miss 66-13 and had a close one last week at Boston College. Came away with that one with a 31-29 win and escaped up there in Chestnut Hill on the red bandana game. Some series history between these two teams. Florida State leads the all-time series 20-15. Clemson has won 7 straight coming into this game. That is their longest streak in the series history. Last game was in 2022. Clemson won that one 34-28 down in Tallahassee. That was a game that was more of a blowout than the score. They only end up winning by 6, but they were up, I believe, 20 going into the fourth quarter, and just kind of, Florida State just kind of scored some time. But then Clemson had to start back playing when it got towards the end because Florida State made it a game, and Clemson had to keep going. They let off the gas a little too soon. Didn't come back to hurt them. Look at the team stats. Clemson comes into the game averaging 48.3 points per game. Florida State averaging 47.3. You look at yards per game so far coming in. Clemson at 489.3. Florida State at 462.7. Look at yards per game allowed. Clemson at 246.7. Florida State at 391.3. On third downs, Clemson is 48.7%. Florida State is 40%. So those are some numbers there for you. As you know, one thing with those is, Florida State has played Boston College and LSU, which are, Duke's Florida's LSU's the toughest game between either one of them. And then it's Duke, of course, but Boston College is better than Charleston Southern and FAU, and Southern Miss may even be better than FAU. They're definitely better than Charleston Southern. So, keep those numbers in mind whenever you look. Now, then again, Boston College had no business losing that game by 2 at 31-29. It just should not have been there. Um, that game should not have been as close. So, it's something to keep in mind when you look at the numbers. But then again, you can't ignore some stuff. When you look at total defense, Clemson is number 8 in total defense, so that is a good spot to be. When you look at the Florida State Seminoles, they are way down the list. Getting to them now. Florida State is way down here at. Let me find them. I know they're pretty far down the list. Florida State's pretty low on it. They are 101 Yeah, 101. Florida State is 101st in total defense. Not good. Not good. We'll see how many that how well that affects this game, because this is a Clemson offense that struggled in the first 6 quarters of the season, but in the last 6 quarters they've really started to turn it up a little bit and play a lot better. So considering that Florida State brings in the 101st ranked defense against an offense that is starting to kind of pick up the pace, and say what you want, they have talent all over the offensive field, and they have the best offensive coordinator in college football in Garrett Riley, who comes from a family of the best offensive minds in college football. So if Florida State's defense struggles in this game, this is one that Clemson could be able to put up a lot of points in. Um, and I think Clemson's defense is going to have a solid chance. They're going to play solid against Florida State. I think that they're going to be able to stop them sometimes. I don't think Florida State's going down the field and getting a touchdown on every drive, or touchdown, getting points on 90% of their drives. I just don't think that's going to happen. Um, we look at the stat leaders here for these teams. Clemson, at quarterback, Cade Klubnik, he's the leading passer coming in. He's 71 of 107, 66.4 completion percentage, 693 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks, 141.7 passer rating. Look at Jordan Travis at the quarterback position for Florida State. He's 53 of 84, 63.1 completion percentage, 729 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, 165 passer rating. Look at Will Shipley, the leading running rusher for Clemson. 36 carries, 225 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns on the ground, 11 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown, 0 fumbles. Then you flip it over, you look at Trey Benson, 33 carries, 164 yards, 5 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns, 3 catches for 28 yards, no receiving touchdowns, and no fumbles. Now to the receivers, you got Bo Collins, the leading receiver for Clemson, 13 catches, 197 yards, 15.2 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. On the other side, you got Johnny Wilson, 11 receptions, 209 yards, 19 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell are going to be tough to stop for this Clemson team. I don't think they're going to have a problem stopping the run, other than the fact that, maybe other than the fact of, um, just that the passing game is rolling, and they start running the ball because Clemson's looking for pass. But as far as just straight up, at the first drive of the game, that I don't think that run game's going to do very good. And I don't think Clemson's going to struggle with that. The pass game is where I think Clemson may struggle at, and in covering these guys, because this is a lot of talent that you have to cover. This is 3 NFL players that you're having to cover. And I'm not so sure that all of Clemson corners right now and safety players right now are, you can say they're NFL players. I just don't think you can, for all of them. I think there's some. Nate Wiggins is one. Yes, I think he is. Um, Andrew Makuba, I think, is one. But the thing with Makuba is he going to play? Um, Dabo says he's day to day right now. He's probably looking at a game time decision on if Makuba even plays or not. If he plays, is he even going to be effective at 100%? So that's something to watch for. Um, so that's going to be interesting what all happens with that. Um, but I think Clemson is in a good spot, coming into this game, especially whenever you look at the way Florida State played against Boston College. They struggled, took a lot out of them, but they still won the game, which means you're not going to get a mad Florida State team that's out for revenge. They didn't lose the game. You're gonna get a team that just, you know played their butt off and tired themselves out to beat a Boston College team that shouldn't have even been close with them. Meanwhile, you cruised through FAU. Starters were out after 2 drives in the third quarter. So, it's going to be interesting to see. But my keys to the game for the Clemson Tigers: number one is win the turnover battle. I think Clemson's lost the turnover battle 7 of the last 9 games going back to last season. That is just not good at all. That's not a recipe for success. But last week they cleaned it up. Now they definitely had two passes that probably should have been intercepted. There was one Klubnik threw it right to the guy. Would have been a pick six. He just couldn't haul it in. There's another one into the end zone. They wasn't able to hang on to that one and catch it. But I mean, those you can't make those mistakes against Florida State because Florida State will make you pay for them. And Jordan Travis probably isn't going to make very many of those mistakes either. He may give you one pick, and that's it. I mean, he's only thrown one all season long. I mean, at best from Jordan Travis, you're going to get a pick. Now, Johnny Wilson may give you some drops. Um, it might bounce off his hands. You'd be able to pick it, but they're just not going to. Jordan Travis is not going to make the mistakes. Which, Kate Klubnik's more. We already knew that whenever he came in that he was going to be the Brett Favre type. The risk taker, try and squeeze it into tight windows. So, he's going to have some plays like that where, it's like, dude, you cannot fit that ball in there, but he's going to try to anyways. Um, but the biggest thing with him is just, try not to get too frantic and happy feet in the pocket. Sit in the pocket. You need the offensive line to block for you. And same with the running backs. Let's hold on to the football. No fumbles. But for Cade, just don't panic. That's whenever he's made his mistakes and the turnovers is whenever he panics. Just don't panic in this one. Which I know is a lot and it's hard, but if he can just stay calm back in the pocket, I think that Clemson's got a pretty good shot. At number two, keys to the game: aggressive but smart play. Let them know from the whistle that this is your house and you're here to win this football game. All right, go like be. You have to be physical and just put it to them. But I say, but smart play. You don't want to get overly physical and emotional and into the game and end up causing a game like Colorado State, Colorado, or hurting yourself with all the penalties like Colorado State did, or like Boston College did. I know Boston College wasn't really, late hits and all this other stuff, but you have to play smart but aggressive. Keep your foot on the gas, foot on their neck, but you got to be smart about it. You can't kill yourself with penalties. Because if Boston College didn't have 18 penalties, they probably win that football game. They were going to get the ball back if it weren't for a face mask penalty. So penalties killed Boston College. You look at Colorado State, the penalties basically blew the game for them. They could not stop um, getting personal foul penalties. I think they had five at the half. Five personal foul penalties at the half. Most teams don't even have that many in a whole game, but Colorado State had five at a half. So you just got to be, if you're Clemson, you just got to be aggressive, but play smart and stay within your capabilities and and then you look at my third key of the game. This kind of goes with it, but keep everything in front of you defensively. This Florida State team is an explosive team. Don't let them get behind you and beat you deep. Make them go on long drives. Because I mean, every play is a new play for them to mess something up and fumble or throw a pick or whatever. So whenever if you give them up a four-play touchdown drive as opposed to a 10-play touchdown drive, a 10-play touchdown drive, there's more opportunities for them to screw something up on that. I know that tires you out a little bit more, but you want to make them drive the football down the field every single time. You don't want to give them these huge momentum plays where they three plays, 75 yards, touchdown with a 50 something yard touchdown pass from Jordan Travis to somebody. You don't want that. You want to make them go down the field because that's something they struggled with against Boston College. They had a few big plays, but they really struggled to go down the field. And Boston College broke out of a bunch of weaknesses of Florida State. I think that helps Clemson. But this is again, just keep everything in front of you. Don't get beat deep. Don't give up the explosive play. Um, and just make them go on long drives and screw something up. I mean, it's more likely to happen if you keep them in front of you than let them go deep. But yeah, so those are my keys to the game. Win the turnover battle. Number one. Number two, aggressive but smart play. And number three, keep everything in front of you defensively. Um, so yeah, now time for my score prediction. So I have this score prediction. Call me what you want. I am a Clemson fan. I'll admit that. This may be a little bit of a homer pick, but I got Clemson 38, Florida State 34, and I don't think I'm too far off in saying that. You look at the spread, Florida State's only favored by 2.5 points. So, I mean, Vegas thinks this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a closer game, and I just don't know what Florida State's going to look like in a close game in Death Valley. I think that they could easily come in and beat us by 14 plus, but can they win a close one in Death Valley? I'm not sure. I think that Klubnik pulls it off, and this is a big game for Dabo Sweeney and the Clemson program right now because if you lose this game, you're officially passed by Florida State. If you lose this one, Florida State is it like right now. People can say Florida State, is the best team in the ACC, but they haven't proven it yet. They beat you at home right now. That is proven that they are. So my score prediction again: Clemson 38, Florida State 34. I think the Tigers pull off the upset. I think that they revive their season, and I think that these two teams are bound to meet again in the ACC championship. Um, we'll see who wins that one. Because if Clemson wins this weekend, I'm not so sure they beat Florida State for a second time at the end. We've seen that when top teams play each other, the usually the team that won the first one gets blown out in the second one, regardless of how close the first one was. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I got Clemson 38, Florida State 34. But that wraps up today's video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment those thoughts and opinions down below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you guys back here next week.